By now, you know the formula. I introduce an old game, explain the story, and then show you the ending. But we're doing something slightly different today. You see, it's not the ending that makes the Ghosts N Goblins trilogy so memorable, but rather what happens before you get there. Now is the time to look away if you don't want to know what happens next, because today we're revealing the mean trick at the center of Ghosts N Goblins, Ghouls N Ghosts, and Super Ghouls N Ghosts. This is 23 Endings, the early years. If you only know Sir Arthur from his appearances in the Marvel vs. Capcom series, then you have no idea how brave this guy used to be. Forget for a moment that this ill-equipped hero fought the forces of evil in 4 separate side-scrolling action games, because Arthur is so brave that he had the confidence to take the love of his life on a romantic date to a graveyard. Who has the balls to do that? Sir Arthur, that's who. Of course, as we all know, the romantic night out ends when Princess Prin is abducted by a flying monster. This sends Arthur on an epic adventure that sees him investigate a recently abandoned city, dive into the haunted caves, climb the tower, and eventually fight Satan himself. Now this is normally where I run the ending and gear up for my review, but Satan has a trick up his wing. See for yourself. That's right, it was all an evil, poorly spelled trick. In what may be the single meanest fake-out in video game history, Sir Arthur is forced to go back to the very beginning and play the entire game all over again. That means going back to the graveyard, city, caves, tower, and whatever this is a second time. You even have to fight that stupid winged monster that kidnapped Prin again. It all leads to an even tougher battle against Satan, which leaves us with this terrible ending. The story is happy ending? Being the wise and courageous knight that you are, you feel strength welling in your body? Strength? Yeah, I feel something, but I don't think it's strength. For better or worse, this game is a lot more memorable for having a cruel fake-out than a satisfying ending. But at least Sir Arthur learned his lesson, and this wouldn't be a repeating trend throughout the entire trilogy, right? So Ghouls N Ghosts picks up a few years after the events of the first game, and probably has the most violent intro of the entire series. We see the whole kingdom, including Princess Prin killed by Lucifer. That's not good, and Sir Arthur will stop at nothing to get his revenge. But it's more than that, because he's also searching for a way to revive his friends, family, and lovers. This sends him scurrying through the graveyard, burning city, scary mountain, and diamond caves. After all this work, he'll finally make it to Lucifer's door, and you'll never guess what happens next. Okay, so maybe you saw that coming. It's another twist, and Sir Arthur is sent all the way back to the very beginning to find the magic power from the goddess of battle. Why didn't this vision come to Arthur sooner so he didn't have to do so much backtracking? I guess we'll never know. What this means is that we're stuck replaying the graveyard, burning city, spooky mountains, and diamond caves in order to unlock the giant door and fight Lucifer, or Loki if you're playing the Genesis port. And you want to know how to beat the final boss without even breaking a sweat? Well, here's what I said on the subject 27 years ago on GamePro TV.
Game Pro's back. Let's kick it!
Hello, I'm Silas Shaw from Aberdeen, Washington, and I have a great way to beat Loki, the big boss in Ghouls N Ghosts, for the Sega Genesis. First, get the Psycho Cannon from Volcar. When you finally get to Loki, jump on one of his feet. When he raises his leg, then you'll be able to fire repeatedly at his chin, even though his leg is moving up and down. I promise you, you'll beat him in a snap.
If you take my advice, you'll end up with this ending. Lucifer unleashes all the souls, Prin Prin is dropped off by a bird, and everybody is alive and well again. It's a happy ending, followed by a poorly translated wall of text. Okay, so maybe it's missing a comma or two, but you know what? I'm not gonna sweat it. At least they spelled the words correctly. That brings us to Super Ghouls N Ghosts, the final game in the original old-school trilogy and the first to bypass the arcade. It sees Sir Arthur once again forced to rescue Princess Prin Prin, this time from the Emperor Sardius. This Super NES exclusive sent Arthur through yet another graveyard, onto a ghost ship, through the fire caves, down the spiral staircase, and up the snowy mountains. It all leads to an oddly familiar fight with a completely predictable reveal. Try to act surprised. Once again, we're sent back to the very beginning to find an item you need if you want to defeat Emperor Sardius. Yeah, this information would have been helpful like 10 levels ago, back when Arthur hadn't risked his life to save Prin Prin for the third time. But he has no choice, and back to the graveyard, ghost ship, fire cave, spiral staircase, and snowy mountain he goes. The conclusion sees Arthur finally go head-to-head with Sardius, who just kinda stands there, waiting to get clobbered. Here's what happens next. For as much as I love the Ghosts N Goblins series, I genuinely hate their endings. They're never worth the work that goes into playing through all the levels twice. It also feels like a cheap ploy to get you to spend more money to see the true ending. But look on the bright side. At least we defeated the demons and they'll never rise up to menace the peace-loving kingdom ever again. Well, that is until Ultimate Ghosts N Goblins on the PSP. Ugh, I give up. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of 23 Endings, the early years. So here's the question of the day. Is the Ghosts N Goblins trick ending clever or crap? Yeah, this is a simple one. But I'm curious if you think this is Capcom duping their fans into spending more quarters or something else. Let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. For those just tuning in, we're going to be posting a new episode of 23 Endings, the early years, every single weekday between now and Christmas. That means we have 15 episodes left. I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.